Welcome to the Online Digital Marketing Podcast. We'll be discussing marketing strategies, trends, and tips that will help your business succeed in the digital age. Every episode, we'll be interviewing industry professionals and providing valuable insights on how to leverage digital tools for maximum engagement and ROI. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on the latest trends in online marketing.
Welcome to the deep dive. So have you been feeling lately like your usual sales approach? You know, the long emails, the cold calls. Maybe they just aren't hitting the mark quite like they used to. Well, you're definitely not alone there. The whole center of gravity for professional interaction has really changed. The screen, well, that's the new boardroom, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's way more than just some passing trend. It feels like a genuine structural reset. We're going deep today into the core strategies from Jeb Blant's book, Virtual Selling. It's really influential stuff.
Right.
And this isn't just theory for, high-level execs. This is the actual playbook for anyone who needs to engage people, build trust, drive revenue without being in the same room. Think agency owners, marketers, consultants.
Yeah, everyone, really. And the big reason we have to get our heads around this now, it's all driven by the buyer, isn't it? Yeah. Blant has this foundational stat.
The 77% one.
That's the one. 77% of B2B customers, they actively prefer meeting virtually over, the whole song and dance of an in-person meeting. They want efficiency. They want digital convenience.
Exactly. Virtual stopped being the backup plan. It is the primary channel now.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. Our mission today. We want to distill Blant's system. The goal is for you, listening, to walk away really understanding how to master what he calls blended communication. So you can use this digital world to, accelerate your growth, starting like right now.
And that ability, blending that real human presence with digital tools efficiently, it's probably the biggest competitive edge you can have right now, seriously.
Okay, let's start there. That idea of the permanent shift. A lot of businesses, they sort of reluctantly got on board with video calls a few years back, right?
Yeah.
And maybe still see it as just necessary.
Yeah.
But Blant says we need this whole mindset of blended communication. So what does that actually look like?
In practice? Well, first, it means ditching the idea that these digital tools are just substitutes for the real thing. Blended communication, as Blant defines it, is about combining everything, your video, your social interactions, text messages, email, into one single connected system for engagement. It's basically an omni-channel strategy that's specifically applied to building relationships and, closing deals.
I can see the value there immediately. For anyone in lead gen or marketing automation, that sounds familiar, right? Connecting all the outreach.
Yeah.
And virtual communication, if you do it right, it cuts down the friction for the buyer, but it also expands your reach, like almost infinitely.
Precisely. It makes sure your closing strategy kicks in the moment that lead appears. Every single digital touch point needs to add something to that relationship. You make it easier for the client, time-wise, and in return, you can have way more meaningful interactions across different time zones, doesn't matter.
Okay, but here's where it gets, for me, really interesting. The tech just makes the connection possible, right? It doesn't actually create the trust. And Blant puts a huge emphasis on emotional discipline for virtual success. That sounds, honestly, a bit exhausting. How do you manage that? Stay authentic but in control when the camera's always on you.
That really is the core challenge. Blant's point is simple. The person who controls their emotion wins the interaction, wins the sale. The tricky part, the camera is, it's ruthless. It amplifies everything. Every little hint of insecurity, every flicker of nerves, any uncertainty in your voice. It gets magnified and sent straight to the buyer, much faster and clearer than across a big table.
So the answer isn't just putting on a brave face. It's about actually cultivating a calm, confident, but also maybe surprisingly authentic virtual self. You mentioned professional vulnerability earlier. That sounds risky to a lot of professionals.
Yeah.
Like admitting weakness. Can you give an example? How does that work without undermining your authority?
Yeah, it's not about, pouring your heart out about your fears. It's about showing relatable humanity. Let's say a prospect asks a really specific technical question and you genuinely don't know the answer off the top of your head. Professional vulnerability isn't bluffing. It's saying something like, that's an excellent, very specific question. Look, I don't want to give you a guess right now. Getting you the precise answer is my priority. I'll have that detailed data for you by, say, 3 p.m. today.
Ah, I see. So you're showing you're competent because you care about accuracy, but you're also being honest. That builds trust right there.
Exactly. You keep your authority because you promise and you deliver, but you also bridge that empathy gap. You show you're a real person who values getting it right over just having an immediate answer.
And video is so crucial for bridging that gap because there's actual science behind that, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Our brains are literally wired to read faces for clues about safety, intent, trustworthiness. Neuroscience shows video is second only to actually being there in person for triggering that primal emotional connection. If you just hide behind an avatar or stick only to phone calls, you're basically removing the main data channel, the emotional input that helps build trust quickly.
Okay, let's shift to the practical side. Beyond emotional control, our audience is savvy, but there are still common technical slip-ups. We know the basics: good light, frame yourself okay. But what are those subtler technical things that can really kill the vibe, even if you're feeling confident?
It's almost never the picture, funnily enough. It's usually the sound. People often focus on ring lights, but they should be obsessive about audio quality. Things like latency, echo, even just a bad mic placement. They create this slight cognitive dissonance for the listener, and that translates subconsciously into perceiving you as less professional or maybe just unprepared.
Right. If you sound like you're in a cave, the message gets lost, no matter how good it is. The key is creating intimacy, which means crisp audio and looking right at the camera lens. That eye contact thing, it makes the other person feel like you're talking just to them, even if it's a webinar with hundreds of people.
Absolutely. These aren't just nice to haves. They're essential for actually transmitting that trust through the screen.
No, what I think is brilliant about Blount's work is that he sees video calls as just one part of it. The virtual selling framework is really this multi-channel engagement model. So if video is the handshake, what do the other channels do in this whole strategy?
Right. Each one has a very specific role. Based on its strengths, you can't just blast the same message everywhere. Take text messaging. Blount says reserve that strictly for speed and confirmation. Things like running 5 minutes late or did you get the contract? High velocity, but very low on detailed info.
Okay, so text is for immediacy, and email is the opposite then. For the detailed stuff, the value adds.
Precisely. Email is where you send the proposal, the white paper, the detailed follow-up notes. Then you've got social media. Blount really stresses this for building familiarity. It taps into that law of familiarity. You're not hard selling on LinkedIn. You're showing up, adding value, building that brand trust before you even think about pitching.
Right, warming them up. And then there's integration. Blount hits this point hard. The whole system falls apart without it. But getting chat, email, social, your CRM, getting them all talking to each other smoothly, that's tough for a lot of us. Does he offer any shortcuts or advice on actually doing that complex integration?
He mostly emphasizes the necessity of solving it, because if your channels are siloed, it guarantees inefficiency. Think about it. If your video chat history is over here and your call notes are there and your email sequence is separate, you force the buyer to repeat themselves. That's the ultimate friction creator. And yeah, that's where you're literally leaving attention and therefore money just sitting on the table.
So the aim isn't just using all the tools, it's weaving them together into this smooth single experience for the client. So every touch point feels like just continuing the same conversation.
That's it exactly. Virtual methods don't just replace face-to-face. They strengthen all those moments in between. They create this fluid, hybrid communication style that keeps the momentum going, whether the final close happens online or in person.
All right, let's get to the gold standard then. The specific, actionable plan for boosting conversion. Blount's framework really hinges on one critical factor: the sequence of how you engage.
The sequence is absolutely everything. You cannot just jump straight into a pitch. The best outreach sequence is deliberately designed to slowly dial up the warmth and the intimacy of the interaction.
Okay, so step one, the warm-up via social.
Correct. Before you dare ask for their time, you need to earn some visibility. Engage with what they're posting, a thoughtful comment on LinkedIn, share something they achieved, maybe reference a recent article they were in. You're building familiarity, maybe passively at first, but enough so when your name pops up later, it's not totally out of the blue. That law of familiarity is powerful. Buyers are way more open once they've seen your name or face a couple of times.
Got it. Then, after you've laid that groundwork, even minimally, comes step two, the personalized video. This is where all that emotional discipline practice pays off.
The video is the bridge. It's the most powerful way, short of a live call, to grab their attention. You send that short, sharp video message, personalized, quick, direct, after you've warmed things up a bit. It's just really hard to ignore a real person talking directly to you, even when you're swamped.
Okay, hold on though. This whole 3-step thing seems to rely heavily on them actually opening and watching that video, right? If they just delete step 2, doesn't the sequence kind of fall apart? How do you handle that potential failure point?
Ooh, good question. And that's exactly why step 3 has to follow pretty quickly, whether you know they watched it or not. Step 3 is the strategic phone call. You call soon after they likely would have received or opened the video. If maybe they didn't watch it, no problem. You just reference the topic of the video, use the call to deepen the chat, and go for the commitment. If they did watch it, fantastic. Your recognition is sky high right then, and you move straight to the next step. That consistency across the platforms is how you manage that potential video skip.
That makes total sense. The phone call becomes the action driver, riding the wave of familiarity the video created, whether watched or not. Okay, the video itself. What are the absolute must-dos?
Discipline on length. Ruthless discipline. Keep it concise, ideally 60 to 90 seconds max. And yeah, for complex stuff, keeping it under 90 is tough, but you have to. Edit your value prop down to one key, urgent pain point for them.
So the content needs to be laser-focused. Personalized hello, hit one specific relevant problem they likely have, and end with a really strong specific call to action. Not just let's chat, but like let's book a quick 10-minute call tomorrow morning to dig into solution X.
Exactly that. It's meant to start a conversation, not be a mini presentation. And that personalization, it pays off big time. Studies consistently show that personalization and outreach, especially with video, can lift response rates by 19 to 25%. That's huge. That's the power of blending that human touch with smart tech.
And the final piece, holding this whole actionable plan together, is consistency across all these different channels you're using.
Absolutely critical. Your core message, your professional vibe, your energy level, it needs to feel the same, whether it's in the video, the voicemail you leave, a quick text, or a chat message. This repetition, it doesn't feel annoying to the prospect if it's consistent. It builds trust. It reinforces your value. Blount calls it the compound influence effect. Each touch point makes the others seem more valid, more sincere. Trust gets built way faster.
So if we zoom out and connect this back to the bigger picture, it's really clear, isn't it? Virtual selling isn't some temporary fix. It's the new standard. Yeah. It lets businesses have that global reach, but with a surprisingly local, personalized feel. It's like scaling intimacy.
That's a great way to put it. Technology finally lets us replicate that essential human presence, but at scale. So for every marketer, every business owner, every entrepreneur listening right now, virtual selling gives you the framework to show up authentically, close leads effectively, and make your whole pipeline way more efficient.
Yeah. The ultimate takeaway from Blount's work, and maybe why it resonates so much right now, is that technology should be a tool to make us more human, not less. And the professionals who really master that blend, empathy, strategy, digital skills, they are absolutely going to be the ones leading the charge for the next decade, no question.
Master the screen, master the sale. It really comes down to that.
So, given that the camera amplifies everything, confidence, nervousness, the lot, and demands such high emotional discipline, here's something to think about for your next digital interaction. If your conscious message is all about competence and value, what subtle emotion, maybe one you're not even aware of, might you be accidentally broadcasting through your camera or mic that could be undermining your sincerity? Yeah. I'll let you chew on that one.
Ready to take your online business to the next level? Subscribe to our digital marketing podcast and then join our Accountability for Success Mastermind. With expert advice from industry leaders, you'll gain knowledge and insights that will help you succeed in today's digital marketing world. From social media strategies to search engine optimization, we have all the tools you need. Learn from successful entrepreneurs and take control of your online success. Join the Accountability for Success Mastermind now at bit.ly/AFSM podcast.